Hello, precious viewers, and welcome to Vegetarianism, the Noble Way of Living on Supreme Master Television. Today, we are going to hear the remarkable story of a truly one-of-a-kind dog.
She is a demonstration of what it looks like to persevere. What it feels like to say, I can do what I want to do. Nothing can stop me.
I think she's amazing, and she's definitely a gift from God.
The 9-year-old Labrador Chow mix named Faith can do something that few other dogs can. She can hop, walk, and run on her 2 hind legs just like a human. Faith's incredible journey began with an act of compassion. Her soon-to-be caregiver, Jude Stringfellow, was then working as an English professor in Oklahoma, USA. One day in 2003, Jude's son Reuben was asked by a friend to help bury some newborn puppies who had sadly passed away.
I remember very clearly saying, Reuben, do not bring any of those puppies home. And he said, Mom, they're 2 weeks old and they're dead. I mean, I'm just burying them. Give me some credit. And I said, I'm just saying, don't bring any of them home. And he said, no problem. So he came home with her.
Reuben's heart reached out to the little yellow dog who was clinging to life, but who was extremely weak because of an unusual deformity kept her from nursing with her mother.
We looked at her, and she did have the 2 back legs, and she had a 3rd leg, but it was upside down and dead, and it was not able to function. You think about this, as a dog is suckling from its mother, it needs its hands to push against the teat. Yeah. It tells me that he just couldn't take it. He knew the dog was viable. He knew she was alive, and he, I guess, maybe internally felt that and put Faith down his jersey and then ran over and jumped over the fences and got home. And he wasn't really sure even until he got home, what he had done. Mm-hmm. But he said, I saved this dog's life, but now what?
At first, Jude was nervous about taking 3-week-old Faith into her home.
It was my daughters I was more concerned with, not Reuben and not the puppy. So from the very onset, I said, she may not make it. Don't get your hopes up. Don't fall in love. It may not happen.
Indeed, though the little puppy seemed too weak to make it, Jude herself couldn't help but fall in love. Something in Faith's eyes persuaded Jude to let her stay.
She looked up at us with a hope, a faith. Will you help me? Will you take care of me? You're my only chance.
Faith needed surgery to remove her only front leg, which was deformed and keeping her from functioning healthily. Once she recovered, and with the veterinarian's blessings, Faith officially started adjusting to her new home and family, which included Jude, Jude's 2 daughters, Laura and Katie, and the brother Reuben, who had given Faith her second chance at life. The little puppy, then dubbed Yellow Dog, was soon strong enough to move her body around to play and feed. The vets warned, however, that this was unhealthy for the pup in the long run, as she would eventually wear down on her chest and chin from too much scooting. Concerned, Jude and her family did their best to encourage Faith to sit upright with mixed success. They never anticipated how simple it would be to finally get Faith to stand up, let alone walk like a person.
We tried everything to make her interested, toys or games or clapping or something, and finally it was her nose that did her in. My daughter was making a peanut butter sandwich. She tried tuna before, no go, but peanut butter. And that dog's ears perked up and her nose popped up, and Laura said, gotcha, I gotcha. So she put the peanut butter on the end of a spoon and walked around the house with it. And the dog would lift a little bit more and fall, lift a little bit more and fall. And we just used it as a game.
Like any other canine cutie, the prospect of a delicious treat kept Faith motivated. Eventually, she lifted all the way up to stand on her hind legs, and her family was thrilled. But the persistent pup did not stop there.
We had her about 12 weeks. We did not teach her to walk. We taught her to stand up on her back legs. That's all we taught her. And then one of my corgi puppy that we were fostering bit her on the heel. And if you know about corgis, they want to herd sheep, and so he was herding her around. She did not like that, so she chased him.
Her refusal to see differences as disadvantages made Faith stronger and steadier as she continued to stand and run, eventually teaching herself to walk at an even pace and even jump over steps and other obstacles. Just look at her go. She can move around on her hind feet as well as you and I.
So, was she named Faith right away, or did she evolve to that?
She evolved to that. I called her Yellow Dog, which is not the least bit original. Kay may have called her Miracle or Hope. And finally, after she did stand up and walk on her own, my daughter Laura said, you know, we should name her Faith. It took Faith on her own to stand up and do the walking.
Since she learned to walk at such an early age, Faith's muscles and joints grew to accommodate her unique skill. Over the years, she had seen over a dozen veterinarians, and not only do they deem her perfectly healthy and adapted, they all say that her situation is an absolute miracle. The Miracle Dog became known to the outside world when Jude contacted her local television news station to share Faith's inspiring story.
I called a local anchor and asked if they could do a story, and she said sure. So one day they had a slow news day, so she called me and did a story on Faith, put it on the AP, and within hours the entire world was on her phone. It was like amazing.
Since that fateful day, Faith has appeared on numerous television and radio shows. The science world is fascinated by her sheer ability to mobilize. Ripley's Believe It or Not did a special feature on her, taking x-rays to better understand how Faith strutted around. She was also featured on the Discovery Channel and the PBS scientific show Nova, to name a few. Of course, the scientifically inclined are not the only ones interested in the lovely, persistent Faith. The queen of talk shows, Oprah Winfrey, has even invited Faith to appear on her program. Oprah was not entirely aware of her guest situation, so when the two finally met face to muzzle, it was an emotional revelation to say the least.
That backstage, Oprah could not stop crying, and my daughter Katie asked her. She said, "Are you going to be okay?" And Oprah, kind of clenched her heart, and she said something to the effect of, "I've actually never been this touched. This is amazing."
We surely can empathize and be easily moved by such a resilient spirit. With so many odds initially stacked against her, Faith thrived seemingly without a care in the world, ever so confident and while surprisingly normal. Indeed, her characteristic walk does not seem to affect her energy levels or ability to keep up with her fellow canines.
She is active with the other dogs. She's the alpha dog at home. She's definitely the queen. And I think she had to be in order to survive the way that she did. She had to create that in herself.
Thanks to her feature on Oprah and numerous other appearances in international media, Faith has endeared the hearts of countless fans. She receives up to 300 emails every day, and her website gets over 2,000 daily visits. Of the many people who have met her, all can attest to something very notable. Despite having an unusual appearance for a dog, Faith's so-called disability is almost unnoticeable behind her captivating, lively smile.
When you look at her, you just see this big smile, and the first thing you notice is the big smile, and then you think, oh, wait a minute, she's got no arms. Oh my gosh, what's going on? And she doesn't notice that. Faith doesn't care. Faith doesn't notice that she herself is handicapped or disabled. And so the message that we take when we go on our motivational speaking tours is that you don't have to look perfect to be exactly what you're supposed to be or who you're supposed to be.
Faith is a very happy dog. Look at her face. Look at that tongue wagging. She loves us, and we love her.
Her uplifting and charming personality, on top of all her hopping and running, has enabled Faith to accomplish a very impressive and rare feat for an animal. She has attained the rank of an E5 sergeant in the United States Army.
Faith became a sergeant when we went to Seattle, Washington, Fort Lewis, and we mentioned that she loved to see wounded warriors, and so they took us into the Madigan Hospital. She made those guys feel so good, and she did. And there was children there too, because it's a regular hospital, so she made the kids feel great. But she couldn't go into some of the wards, and so one of the generals there said, "You know what? If I make her a sergeant, she can go in the wards at Walter Reed, Sam Houston, wherever she wants to go. She can go in the wards." So they made her a sergeant. It was just supposed to be for a day. And then the members of the Army said, no, we want her to be one all the time so she could always go to any base she wants to around the world.
And travel she does. Faith's military pilgrimages have helped her reach out to a greater number of people, especially wounded soldiers or those currently serving. Her human companion believes that Faith really has an affinity and sense of purpose with these soldiers, and she surely treats every single one of them like her best friend. Wonderful viewers, thank you for joining us today for Vegetarianism, the Noble Way of Living. Please come back to watch part 2 of our program on December 6th to hear some more stories of Faith's travels and how she has inspired people from all walks of life. In the meantime, read more about Faith on her website, www.faiththedog.info. Coming up next on Supreme Master Television is Between Master and Disciples. May compassion and peace fill your every day.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/veg.
Hello, joyous viewers, and welcome to Vegetarianism, the Noble Way of Living on Supreme Master Television. Last week, we introduced you to Faith, a remarkable dog who used her own faith, persistence, and a little help from her human family to learn something truly unique: how to walk, run, and play on her hind legs.
I think she thinks she's a human. I mean, look at her walking around. She just gets around just as good as we do.
But Faith's owners say the 1.5-year-old is just like every other dog. Well, there is one noticeable difference. Faith walks upright. She was born without her front legs and with little chance of survival. But the Stringfellow family adopted her, nursed her to health, and trained her to hop around.
Faith and her caregiver, Jude Stringfellow, are back this week with more stories about Faith, the dog who inspires others by refusing to let her appearance and situation bring her down. Her playful spirit and loving nature help others to see that one does not need to look perfect on the outside to be perfectly amazing inside and out. As more people find out about Faith, thanks to several books written by Jude and high-profile appearances on shows like The Oprah Winfrey Show and The Montel Williams Show, Jude and Faith have received more and more mail thanking them for sharing their heart-touching story and how it has transformed others for the better. In fact, Faith was the missing link in the Stringfellow family who helped them heal during a difficult time.
We weren't a family. We weren't really united. My son and I
Kinda
were
broken.
but the girls were broken, terribly broken, by experiences they had. And so Faith made us, I tell people, we were like, the four of us were like a hand, but she was the thumb that crossed over us and made us a fist and made us strong again.
So what are some touching stories of how she's impacted your personal lives?
Well, Katie, my daughter, has asthma. And so sometimes, she gets depressed about that fact. I mean, she's an active, wonderful, beautiful girl, but asthma slows her down. We used to say that God gave her asthma so she wouldn't take over the world because she's that charismatic. Yeah. And so sometimes I saw Katie, petting Faith and just saying, well, I have a disability, you have a disability, we're going to make it. So I just kind of saw that one time, and it was just really touching to my life. And my son is in the Army. There's a connection there. When my son was gone, and when he was in Iraq, I could kind of hug my dog and kind of feel like I was at least hugging my other soldier. She doesn't think like you and I. If there's an adversity in her life, she doesn't think of it as an adversity. She just says, oh, well, I'm going to do the best I can. And if she needs help, she asks for help. And that's so important because we don't ask for help like we should.
It was this attitude to life that helped inspire a stranger across the country who has never even met Faith but heard about her through a nurse.
People constantly email me or write me and tell me how Faith changed her life. One that comes to mind is a man in California who has not yet met Faith, but her story is so imposing on his life that he tells everyone about her. His name is Aaron Landale, and he was over-the-road trucker. He was doing drugs. He was doing alcohol while driving, and he got put into rehab to save his life. And he says while he was there, one of his nurses had a photo of Faith on her stand, and she told him the story of Faith. So when she left, when he was graduating, she gave him a photo of Faith and said, this is what you need to remember. It doesn't matter, you know, what you look like inside or outside, or what you think other people are thinking about you. It's who you are and what you choose to do. If you are given a bad situation, it's how you respond to it that makes your character. And she said, be like Faith. And so he is, and he continues to be an inspiration to other truckers, over-the-road truckers, and he's rehabilitating them now.
Jude shares yet another story about Faith's far-reaching influence, this time stirring the life of a student from Egypt.
One of my students this week, Lulu Nabib, she said to me, she was in Egypt, that's where she lives, and she said while she was in Egypt, she felt like wanting to end her life, and saw the YouTube on Faith from the Oprah show, and then she saw another one from another show, and then she kept following Faith's story. When she came to America to start a new life, to get away from where she was, and lo and behold, I became her teacher, and she was like, this is a miracle. How did that happen? And so whenever she thinks of Faith now, she thinks of a Savior, she said.
Wow.
So that's important to me.
Incredible. Faith's human family are devout Christians, and their beliefs in helping the less fortunate played a part in their decision to adopt Faith into their homes, despite never having cared for a disabled animal before.
So they say that there's an intrinsic connection between God and dogs, especially when we think about unconditional love. So what role has spirituality and maybe religion played for you?
I'm a Christian, and in my faith, we have to ask for salvation. And so when we do ask for it, it's freely given. It's given to anyone who asks. So like Faith, she asked for help. We freely gave her the help. Then she became healthy and turned around and started helping the world.
So giving Faith's condition, do you think it takes a special caregiver for this
I have
dog?
to say it does take a lot of commitment. If they don't have the time to commit with it, they need to find a person who can. Any animal with any special needs, you need to have the commitment to the animal, not just a showcase or a trophy. Because Faith is lucky. Her back, her joints, everything is fine. Not necessarily in every other dog situation. So they should always be vet checked.
Faith truly lives up to her name, which in itself is a reminder to others to have faith in themselves and in a higher compassionate power, no matter what their religious or spiritual beliefs.
And they can look at what she did in her life, just a short eight years, and they can actually say to themselves, I can make it. I can do this. No matter what it is, I have power, because if God will do this for a little dog, he'll certainly do this for me. Her name transcends all religions. She's really very popular in the Islamic faith as well as the Christian faith, so it's fantastic.
As we found out last week, Faith had the honor of becoming an E5 United States Army Sergeant, a title given to grant her more access to people whose lives she wanted to comfort and brighten. With a sergeant status, she was able to go into all the wards at the many area hospitals and make many new friends. But just how much does she travel to meet new people?
I know she's gone at least 200 flights alone on American Airlines.
Wow.
Usually 50, 60 times. Now it's about 20 or 30 times a year. She is older. She's almost 9. And so we're cutting down on some of the things that we do simply because of her age, but her activities haven't slowed down that much. She doesn't want to quit. So when she wants to quit, we will quit.
With so many frequent flyer miles, Faith has enough saved up to travel all parts of the world when she retires, if she ever slows down. We've told you some touching tales of how Faith has been able to change the lives of humans. But what about other dogs? Faith loves them too. She takes the time to greet her peers, who are sometimes inspired to emulate her human-like walk.
Now Faith's fancy footwork is contagious. Watch how a furry friend in this Petco in Arcadia, Oklahoma, rises up to greet Faith.
In 2010, Yvette Boz, who is a longtime admirer of Faith, did something extraordinary for a little disabled dog named Rue. She adopted him into her home. Rue, like Faith, is also missing his 2 front legs and therefore cannot walk or stand like most other canines. Faith's own ability to adapt gave Yvette the confidence to train and care for the adorable young Chihuahua. So many people have heard of Faith that she was almost cast in the 4th Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. How? The film's crew and producers heard of her almost magical ability to walk upright, and we're going to cast her in a scene depicting the first challenge in the Goblet of Fire. In said scene, the wizard Cedric Diggory was to drop his wand accidentally while reciting an incantation. As a result, he would create an ultra dog only possible in the magical world, Faith. Despite the logistics not working out, the cast and crew of the movie loved hearing Faith's story and hoped to meet her one day. So what does one of the world's most famous dogs do for fun?
Are you kidding? The world's most famous dog likes to stay under my bed. I mean, all day long. She's a cave dog, and she likes to go under the cave and watch what's going on. So she likes to have all of the covers up on top of the bed so she can see from all corners. She likes to watch what's going on. Someone asked me, they said, we should put a webcam on her collar or something. I said, you just see the underside of my bed all day long. But when she when you say the words, let's go, then she knows she's going to go outside and play, or she's going to go on TV somewhere.
So what's a typical day from start to finish with Faith?
For Faith, again, she starts out on top of my bed, and then she goes and plays with the other dogs, and she likes to look at the horses, and then she'll play with other dogs, and then she goes back under the bed. She has a little safety zone, I guess you'd say, under the bed, so that's it. And then I come home, and she wants to play and live with me, and then she goes back to bed. So she's a typical dog. She really is. She is definitely in the present moment. She is. She's a great Buddhist. So tell people.
We thank the Stringfellow family for their faith and love in caring for such an exceptional being who has since blessed countless lives. We wish you and Faith many more years in one another's warm company. Magnificent viewers, thank you for joining us today for Vegetarianism, the Noble Way of Living. If you'd like to learn more about Faith, you can pick up Jute Stringfellow's latest book about her famous companion, Faith Walks, available at Amazon.com. In the meantime, read more about Faith on her website, www.faiththedog.info. Coming up next on Supreme Master Television is Between Master and Disciples. May happiness and serenity enrich your spirit and enliven your day.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/veg.
We hear about the pigs who know their names, play video games, and adjust the air conditioner on and off to be comfortable. We heard about the chicken that solves math problems, or the sheep who can recognize photos of the faces of 50 fellow sheep. And there are hundreds of studies about the intelligence of fish. They can use tools and have memory over time of at least many months. The intuitive or telepathic ability of animals is also often highly developed, more than many of us.
Following are only some of the evidence that have been observed, which reveals the incredible intelligence of animal co-inhabitants. Humans have yet to completely discover the cleverness and cognitive depth of our smart, furry, finned, and feathered friends. Communicate with each other, navigate by landmark and beacon use, are able to estimate quite precisely numbers of encounters with members of other colonies on their feeding areas.
Bats recognize individual voices and utilize echolocation to navigate. Bees communicate where food is through their dance and can learn to decipher the language of bees on other continents.
Birds' extensive intelligence, developed from adaptive brain power, enable them to avoid extinction 65 million years ago. Bonobos can learn sign language to communicate with humans and invent new combinations of symbols to express thoughts.
Cats have a good memory, which aids them in their learning processes and exhibit qualities of intelligence, such as curiosity, creative problem solving, and communication.
Chickens have a complex social organization where they can remember more than 100 other chickens, communicate through over 30 types of vocalizations, demonstrate self-control, pass along cultural knowledge from one generation to the next, understand cause and effect relationships, can solve math problems, and are able to be effective therapy animals.
Chimpanzees use a variety of tools, can communicate by sign language, and have outperformed human college students in tasks requiring remembering numbers. Corvids, which include birds such as crows and ravens, have demonstrated hallmarks of higher intelligence in common with humans, such as tool use, communicating through different dialects among kin, sophisticated social behaviour, and tactical behaviour.
Cows are excellent at remembering things, have social relationships, are emotionally complex, understand cause and effect relationships, and can figure out solutions to problems. Crabs have remarkable aptitude to memorize visual features, learn from their mistakes, adapt to different stimuli in their environment based on past experiences, look out for one another and do not fight their neighbors, react to acoustic stimuli, communicate through sound vibrations, and provide care and ensure a clean environment for their young.
Dogs have applied their superior senses to give warnings of life-endangering situations in humans, such as heart attacks, low insulin levels, and seizures, can learn to be guides for the visually impaired, possess good memories, can serve as therapy animals, and are trained as search and rescue members.
Dolphins have passed self-recognition tests, possess special sensory skills such as echolocation, understand symbol-based language, think about the future, learn new behaviors that they pass on to fellow dolphins, and have recognized when humans are in danger and provided protection from predators or guided them toward the shore.
Earthworms can make decisions on the kinds of leafy matter they use to block their tunnels.
Elephants can perform simple arithmetic and have passed self-recognition tests.
Fish can communicate with one another, use tools, and have shown to have a good long-term memory.
Frogs, such as the male gray tree frogs, when singing in a chorus, adjust their croak to stand out and get the attention of a female.
Giraffes communicate with each other at an infrasonic level that humans cannot hear.
Goats have a natural curiosity and intelligence, are willing to explore new surroundings, can learn new tasks, are capable of easily escaping from enclosures, and will not consume soiled food or contaminated water.
Gorillas use similar body language as humans to communicate with each other and can learn sign language to speak with humans.
Horses can count, perform cognitive tasks, have good spatial recognition, excel at simple learning, and are able to solve advanced mental challenges.
Insects communicate not only between species, but with subterranean and land animals, and use plants like a telephone line to exchange information.
Jaybirds use memories of past experiences to plan ahead, can remember thousands of food caches, and remember how long they have stored a particular food and will retrieve it before it spoils.
Koalas communicate through calls to attract mates or to warn of danger.
Llamas are sensitive and intelligent animals that are effective therapy assistants to humans.
Lobsters, like dolphins and many other animals, use complicated signals to explore their surroundings and establish social relationships, can detect slight changes of only a degree or two in water temperature, and communicate through pheromones.
Mice are socially complex animals with the capability to learn and solve problems.
Monkeys have a culture and social system of passing information from one generation to the next that teaches the young to find food, recognize relatives, and use tools, self-medicate using beneficial plants, possess sophisticated forms of communication that involve visual cues, auditory calls, and olfactory signals, and have learnt tasks to assist human quadriplegics with daily living.
Miners are known as the best mimics of human speech and other sounds, with some being able to learn a new word every couple of days.
Nightingales have complex songs to communicate and adjust their calls according to the ambient noise level.
Octopuses construct their own shelters from coconut shells, demonstrating tool use in an invertebrate animal.
Parrots can associate human words with their meanings, learn to mimic a large vocabulary of human language, dance to music and change their rhythm based on the musical beat, excel at cognitive tasks, and can apply abstract concepts such as shape, colour, number, etc. Pigeons can learn complex actions and response sequences, recognise other individual pigeons, have passed the self-awareness test, remember routes home from long distances, aid in life jacket detection for sea rescues, saved countless human lives in times of conflict, are able to detect earthquakes and electrical storms through sound, can remember hundreds of images for several years, and can recognise paintings by different artists on par with college students.
Pigs are highly intelligent with a good memory, have a complex social structure, are capable of abstract representation, possess a higher cognitive ability than a 3-year-old child, and learn new things quickly, including learning their names, playing video games, and adjusting the air conditioner on and off to be comfortable. Queen bees effectively communicate with the bee colony through vibratory signals called piping.
Rabbits have a complex social structure, can learn to use a litter box and come when called, and have recognised danger and alerted their human companions.
Rats have the ability to represent a spatial pattern in mazes and can be trained to safely detect landmines.
Seals, like humans, use the position of stars at night to navigate their way in open water.
Sheep can recognize the faces of fellow sheep and humans, perceive high-frequency sounds that cannot be heard by humans, have excellent spatial memory, and have learned to outsmart barriers to get to a better food source.
Shrimp communicate via visual and chemical signals.
Squirrels and other scatter-hoarder animals can remember the locations of thousands of food caches, often following major physical changes in their environment.
Toads can detect very low-frequency radio sounding to predict earthquakes.
Turkeys have distinct personalities, are keenly aware of their surroundings to blend in and escape danger, are highly social animals, and can recognize familiar human faces.
Turtles can spot a lake or pond a mile in the distance, are adept at learning mazes, enjoy forms of entertainment and fun, communicate subsonically, have existed in habitats where little else can survive for over 230 million years, can recognise human companions, and females accurately return to the same beach where they were born to lay eggs during breeding season.
Umbrella cockatoos are highly intelligent and affectionate, can imitate human speech, have a social nature, and can learn to perform simple tasks.
Vultures have shown high intelligence, accepting help from humans even in a stressful situation, and use hisses to communicate their pleasure or displeasure.
Whales are able to identify different fellow cetacean calls through the ocean waters and politely wait for their turn to speak, can communicate using whale songs, clicks, and echolocation, are known to teach, learn, collaborate, plan, and mourn, have aided humans and ships in distress to safety.
Xenops communicate with each other through their complex bird calls and songs.
Yaks apply teamwork to protect themselves from temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius by huddling up together at night, with the calves in the center.
Zebra finches dream when they are asleep, with brain activity that mirrors that which occurs during birdsong, have special brain cells that are necessary for original songs, and their developmental stages to find their voice as chicks are similar to that of human babies, adjust their singing depending on their audience, and recognise one another by their particular songs.
For more information, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/constructive scrolls.